Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the Aflasafe initiative. We use biological control products based on Atoxigenic Aspergillus flavus strains to limit aflatoxin contamination of maize and groundnut and a few other crops, like sorghum, and we want to start doing control of aflatoxins in chilies as well. So this is the major aflatoxin producer, Aspergillus flavus. It contaminates diverse crops like maize, groundnut, sorghum, and many other crops that we consume on a daily basis. So aflatoxin B1 is produced by this fungus and is the most potent carcinogen found in nature. It has effects on child growth, also on immunosuppression, and liver cancer, and in some cases, when the quantities are very high, death. This has occurred in Kenya and also in Tanzania, in Africa. It has also, aflatoxin has an effect in poultry. When birds consume aflatoxin-contaminated feeds, the productivity is reduced and mortality increases. And aflatoxin contamination limits exports. So countries like Nigeria and Ghana as well cannot sell or export groundnut and other products because of the high aflatoxin levels that commonly occur. So in any single field that we may take a look at, Aspergillus flavus is going to be present in the soil, in the crop, and also in the air. So it's always going to be associated with the crop. And the crop is going to contain maybe very little amount of Aspergillus or very high densities of the fungus. So after harvest, the maize is going to be containing maybe safe levels of aflatoxins. Anything below 20 parts per billion is considered safe. But there are so many cases in which aflatoxin contamination is very high. Like in some cases in Kenya, we have over 48,000 parts per billion. So that's a very high concentration and very unsafe. So within Aspergillus flavus, which is the most common producer, there are some communities that do not produce aflatoxins at all. There are other species in infecting the different crops, but we are going to be focusing on Aspergillus flavus. There are some families or genotypes that produce no aflatoxins at all because they contain several gene defects that prevent them to produce aflatoxins. So in any of those, in this image, all of those little triangles that you see over there, those represent one deletion in each one of those genes. There are some strains that possess no genes at all, and that makes them unable to produce aflatoxins. So atoxigenic strains of Aspergillus flavus occur in all regions of the world, and we use those ones as biocontrol agents. So in every country that we develop Aflasafe products, we look for native atoxigenic strains. You can see over here, okay, you can see 4 different families that we use as the active ingredient fungi. So we have a very long process to produce Aflasafe. I don't have time to explain that, but basically we grow these strains and we coat them in sorghum to produce a biocontrol agent. You can see over there in the far right, the product is sporulating in the field, and I'm going to explain what is the mechanism of protection. So crops are going to be maturing, and at the same time, the density of Aspergillus is going to increase in the field. And most of the time, the community is going to be composed of toxigenic fungi. I'm using a red color to represent those members of the community that produce aflatoxins. But what we do is that we apply Aflasafe at the time that natural increase occurs, and instead of having one community associated with one toxigenic community associated with a crop, we are going to be having the Aflasafe strains being associated with the crop. And this is going to be resulting in the protection. So when a farmer goes to the field and applies Aflasafe, you may see over there that she's tossing sorghum that is containing the beneficial strains. She's going to be spreading the product 10 kilograms per hectare. In many cases, or in most cases, the maize or the groundnut is going to contain very safe aflatoxin levels. In this case, in those fields, over 95% of the maize contain very, very low levels of aflatoxins, which are approved to be commercialized in any market in the world. In some cases, well, we do not have those reductions below the legal limit in the EU, but those concentrations are still very safe. 5 to 20 parts per billion is something that is safe to consume. And this is in comparison to those fields that are not treated, in which you can have over 20 parts per billion, over 100, or even over 1,000 parts per billion. So when we treat crops with Aflasafe, we have, in general, less than 4 parts per billion, in comparison to crops that have not been treated and that accumulate over 100 parts per billion. And these benefits during the pre-harvest stage are going to move to the post-harvest. So even if a crop is stored under suboptimal conditions, we still have protection. You can see over there, crops that have been treated with Aflasafe contain more than 90% less aflatoxins than those that have not been treated with Aflasafe. And just to give you some data of the impact that we have been achieving, in 2017, over 105,000 hectares of crops in Africa were treated with the different Aflasafe products. So it is a very long process to get a product developed. I don't have time to explain all of that, but I just want to give you an idea that we have a very structured strategy to get these products available. I'm going to focus a little bit on the commercial stage in a few seconds. But we do not only recommend using biological control. Biological control using Aflasafe is not going to solve the problem. This needs to be an integrated aflatoxin management strategy. And we use all of those available technologies to decrease the aflatoxin concentration of crops to the minimum. Now, in Nigeria, we are working with thousands of farmers every year. So this is data that I'm showing you to give you an example of the impact that we are having. We are working with agricultural enterprises, and they may be working with 50 to over 5,000 farmers. So if you take a look over here, you will see that the number of these enterprises is growing, and also the number of farmers. Just last year, we were working with over 25,000 farmers in Nigeria. These farmers are treating over 30,000 hectares, and they have been producing a lot of maize that enters the Nigerian market, and it's safe of aflatoxins. Yes, so over 225 tons of aflatoxin-safe maize have been produced. So they're also making a lot of money because of use of Aflasafe products. They are able to reach premium markets, and they are obtaining benefits, economic benefits. So this can work. Aflasafe technology and this aflatoxin management strategy that we promote is working, and we are trying to replicate it in other countries. So now we have a project that is in charge of transfer this technology to different companies in 11 African countries. We have the mandate to register new Aflasafe products, to make those products available and accessible. Just this morning, we launched the product for use in Ghana just a couple of hours ago. And we also need to develop the market for aflatoxin-safe products. Now, we have different manufacturing models. One is available in Nigeria. New manufacturing models is coming in Kenya, where we have a manufacturing facility that is going to be launched in the near future. And this is for you to let you know that that we have received over there ANH management over there. Just quickly, this is the status of the technology on the different countries. You can see over there that in several countries we are almost we almost have the technology license, and we have other countries in different stages. We want to start this program in different countries. In Benin and Nigeria is starting this year, and we have other countries in the pipeline. Yeah, so this is a joint effort. It's not only a small group of people. We receive many support from different agencies and different donors. Thank you.